iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to race number 7 of the Joe Six-Pack Pick'em Up Cup series. Tonight we got a good one at our hands as we are at the everything bigger Texas Motor Speedway. This track has had a repave in the last couple years, making it very tricky to navigate. Turns 1 and 2 have gotten wider, whereas turns 3 and 4 have gotten faster. We'll see how people can navigate this track tonight as we get ready for the Truckers versus Trudeau Texas class. Looking ahead of here, so we are over halfway in the season at the completion of tonight's race. And we'll look at the points. Only 6 points are separating the top 3. And they go like the following. Brad Yuckman leading the way with 236. David Lomaga in a close second place, just 2 points back from the 93 machine. And then rounding out third with 230 is Keith Fonseca. Then bringing up fourth is Frank Norman. Eli Raposa brings up fifth. Jason Wiley at sixth. Ethan Michaels in seventh. Eighth is Doug Neal after missing a race or two. And then Levi McCarthy also missing races. Rounds out ninth in points. So a great points battle shaping on up as we will elapse halfway through the season here. As we now click over to lone qualifying, and we'll see some trucks out on track. We'll maybe go to the 28 machine of Robert Tuizku in that nice Hooters machine. We'll see where he can slot on in on the timing and scoring. As he gets that 28 truck up to speed, he will start his first time lap here at the start-finish line. That's a sweet looking truck, especially under the lights here at Texas. All these paint schemes are going to be popping, vivid, and looking pretty sweet as they go on by on track. We see the 28 not quite hit the bottom in 1 and 2. I think that's where you got to be, folks, here tonight. I ran this track many of times, and especially 1 and 2 with the lower banking, it eats away at those tires. So I think you want to be as low as possible without losing control of that truck. as he has a good turns 3 and 4. We'll see where this slots him on in for the 28 lap number 1. It will be P2 behind David Hartney. David Hartney right now, the quick time as he comes down the Texas backstretch for the final time. We'll see if he can pick up any more speed through 3 and 4. A little bit wider arc on entry. We'll see if that allows the 28 to carry a little bit more speed as he comes out of turn 4 for the final time. He does not better his lap time, so right now he is in P8 as we go to Eli Raposa in that 46 Dirtbag Clothing Racing Machine, as we'll see where he can slot on in on his first time lap here. As he will slot in right now P5 with a 30.59. We'll see if he can do any better this time around. And Wes Frank Norman will bump him on out of the top 5. Wes Frank Norman now 2 P3, so a great qualifying run from that 72 machine as Eli Easy E completes that lap, does not get a better time, as now we'll look at the 72. We rise to fall. Another Dirtbag Clothing truck out here as he completes his second final lap. We'll see if he can improve on his 30.45, and it does not look like it. So Wes Frank Norman, give him P3. As we have one last truck to qualify. It's the Stanley Power Tools number 6 of Johnny Barker. Johnny out here on his first time lap. 15 cars have taken a lap, 1 left. This is the truck left, so we'll see where Johnny can slot on in. As he comes out turn 4, oh, loses a little bit control of that back end and smacks the wall pretty hard. That will disallow the time and really hurt that 6 truck. So that will be the early indicator of what may come, folks. Because with that great banking in turns 3 and 4, you saw how fast people can haul their trucks through there. That the banking falls away very quickly and that wall comes up so quickly coming off of turn 4 that it causes major problems, especially with some dirty air and stuff like that. So we will see that more of a trouble because, as you see right there, kind of the banking falling on off. So we will have to keep that in mind as that ends our qualifying here, and give the quick time award to that 97 machine, almost a whole tenth faster than Mike Killingbeck in second. So David Hartney, our quick time award tonight here at Texas. As we wrap up qualifying, we will get the trucks to hit the grid, and we will go over our starting order for the Truckers versus Trudeau Texas Clash. And we will get to the starting order. We have David Hartney in the 97 machine on the pole for Dirtbag Racing. Starting to his outside on the front row, we got Mike Killingbeck in the Low Kill Racing number 70 machine. Starting P3 is Wes Frank Norman in the 72. Starting to his outside, Michael Rosenberger in the 55. Rounding out your top 5 here in qualifying, we got David Lomaga in the 34. 6th is Jason Wiley in the 13th. 7th is Eli Raposa in the 46. 8th is Ethan Michaels in the 01. 9th is Jeff Crosby Sr. in the 33. And rounding out your top 10 is Marty Brown in the 41. Starting P11th is our points leader of Brad Yuckman. Starting to his outside is Keith Fonseca in the 61. 13th is Kevin Gironi in the 8th. 14th is Robert Tuizku in the 28th. 15th is Greg Dreiss in the 64. And rounding out our field tonight, we got Johnny Barker in the 6th. So it should be a good one as we get to the front of the field here. And we will be ready to go green flag racing here at Texas for the Truckers versus Trudeau Texas Clash. As the pace car pulls on off, we will wait for the green lights to fire for David Hartney in the Silent Theory Dirtbag Racing Clothing 97. As we get the green flag here, we are racing here at Texas and turning them loose because everything's bigger at Texas. As they go into turn 1, the 72 to the inside of the 70, and they double file on back throughout this field. Everyone's got to be so careful on these fresh, cold tires. Not too much grip can get away from you in a hurry, especially in some dirty air. So everyone's got to keep the truck underneath them as we see our third place driver, Wes Frank Norman, with a little bit of a wiggle coming off that turn. Does an awesome job of saving it, loses a few spots because of it. So we have to see how the 72 truck can rebound. As we look around that truck here, Wes Frank now under fire from his teammate, Easy E, in that 46 machine. As we continue to look through this field here, maybe a little bit further back, we got some drivers like Brad Yuckman battling Kevin Gironi, also under pressure from that 28 a little bit further back. So battles all over the speedway here. As we go up to the front, David Hartney has started to check out a little bit, but is there some damage on that 96 truck? I don't believe so. So looking clean and green, but he is checking out from the 70 and the rest of the field here. Mike Killenbeck with some pressure from Mike Rosenberger right there in that 55 truck, right on his bumper, waiting for a mistake from that 70 Marines machine. As 55 looks a little bit high, but David Lomaga now moves up into P number 4. And now looking to the inside, thought better of it, of the 55, but once again out of the dog leg. We'll try and shoot to the inside. 55 drives it in there hard to defend the position. We'll see how he gets a run off, and the advantage will go to the 34 as they drag race down the backstretch. The 34 machine looking for any sort of space, and man, that is a close battle there. Just enough space. Lomaga has to jump out of it to keep from hitting Rosenberger. And now that opens the door for Jason Wiley right on his bumper. Now the 13 on the attack. So some intense racing for second, third, fourth, and fifth on track right now. As we would keep the camera on the action here. It is 4 cars tucked under a blanket here at Texas, just waiting for one guy to make a move. David Lamaga tries a late move, thinks better of it, has to get out of the throttle. But just like I said before, it takes one little mistake like that, one extra lift, that it opens up the door for the truck behind you. As we look down the backstretch here, all the trucks looking for any sort of room around. Now Lamaga thinks to the outside of the 55. That's going to be a tall order with how wide open they are in these trucks. The only way that you can do that, I would think, is with some fresh tires. But he does have some extra momentum now all over the back tailgate of that 55. As the 55 looks to the inside of the 70, going into 1. Still some awesome door-to-door racing as we try and get 3 wide down the backstretch. Lamaga with another great run off it too. I think that's one of his strong points for that 34 truck, is getting a big run off of turn 2. So now door-to-door with the 55 and clears him. So give third place to Lamaga. Now he sets his sights on the 70 Marines machine. And look at that, folks. They are catching the 97 of David Hartney. I don't know if he pushed too hard early and starting to lose that grip in those tires, or maybe he's just saving tires, seeing these guys battle behind him and making sure that he doesn't run away too far with it and use up his stuff. All sorts of stuff unfolding here early at Texas. I gotta say, I gotta love racing under the lights here as Lamaga all over the back tailgate of that 70 machine. We'll see if he can do a signature big run off of turn 2. He kind of backs up his corner, makes sure he hits that bottom, and then jumps on that throttle so early, able to wrap that white line that no other truck can do. And with that, he can get just such great runs down that backstretch, carry the speed into 3, and almost does that same thing off of turn 4, and that's what you got to do here. You got to come off as low as possible with getting on the throttle as early as you can. And then the key I've learned, I don't know if it's quite the same with the trucks. I haven't raced the trucks too competitively here. But you want to enter as low as you can without pushing off that white line. So really kind of finessing and dancing that truck in the corner to make sure that you can not only carry the right amount of speed, but also make sure you hit your marks. Because you do not want to start losing that right front here early, because it'll send you one place, and that is straight into the wall. David Lamaga still applying the pressure to Mike Kellingbeck. Now Kellingbeck up a groove, Lamaga down low. This is now the battle for P2 on the racetrack. And give that position pretty easily to David Lamaga. Now he sets his sails on the race leader, David Hartney. Already only 0.2 of a second in front of him, so the gap is going by quick here as we are already 15 laps of 90 in this race. We got Jeff Crosby Jr. in the chat saying this race being more clean than last week. I agree. We got a nice 1.5 miles here. Everyone can get spread on out, and that is the case here, and it is clicking by very quickly. That's why we're talking about it. Let's maybe jump on board with the 34 car. Maybe try and listen in what he's doing. What's making that 34 DTL Customs so quick around this Texas Motor Speedway. With the Joe Sixpack on board. As you can see, David Hartney gets into a little bit of trouble, hits the apron. And David Lamaga has to lift a little because he cannot go on the grass there through the dog leg of the front stretch. Now Lamaga kind of gets his entry screwed up with David Hartney where he wants to go. So now he gets to see the 34 try and reel in the 97. But that's the key around here. You got to hit your marks ever so perfect, because if you lift too much like this, you know, your truck can turn too much. You go on the apron and you're going around. So It's all about that nice fine line of speed, grip, and rhythm. And that's what is being shown on display here. As Lomaga, up in no man's land, up in the marbles, trying a different line, seeing what kind of momentum he can get on off. He will have a big run, but I heard it at least, I don't know if you heard it at home, screeching those tires with that high line. I think that will definitely hurt that tires at least once, as he now carries the momentum on the high side, and we are side by side for the race lead. As we got the 34 of Lomaga on the high side for the race lead, just clears the 97, but the 97 with the shorter way around on the inside. We'll see if he can make it stick as they come off at turn 2. The 34 just ahead, but the 97 able to keep to the inside, so he'll get they almost make contact into 3. Hartney has to back out of it a little bit extra, and Lomaga now the new race leader here, 20 laps in of 90. With David Hartney now having to lift extra, that opens the door for Mike Killingbeck, and I think that those tires, like I said before, folks, are going on that 97 machine, because he is looking like he is a little slow through 3 and 4, but now got in a groove there, got the pressure building for that 97. Now, once again, all over the back bumper of the 34, but that 97 just not able to carry the right amount of speed through 3 and 4, and that's hurting that truck speed, especially compared to the 34, which is our new race leader. We'll go through looking a little bit further back here. We got now a battle starting to heat up for maybe 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, and maybe even 8th if Ethan Michaels can have a say in it in that 0-1 here. But now we're looking at Wes Frank Norman in the We Rise to Fall number 72 Dirtbag Clothing Machine, as he applies the pressure to the 13 of Jason Wiley. Now trying to the inside, seeing what kind of run that 72 can get off. But if he doesn't get a good one, now he's got the 46 of Easy E, as well as Ethan Michaels now trying to get around that 46 machine and seeing where he can get up to in this field, as he's able to clear the pass. So move Ethan Michaels up to P number 7. As the next pack a little bit further back, still pretty racy, being led by Jeff Crosby Sr. in the 9th position, just inside the top 10. Keith Fonseca in the 61 as well, trying to apply the pressure to that Skull number 33 machine. Then we got Kevin Gironi in that sticker bombed tribal-esque, I believe it's sticker bomb now that I look at it a little bit closer, number 8 machine. A pretty cool looking paint scheme, if I don't say so myself, under the lights especially. Then we got Marty Brown in the 41 machine, trying to see what he can get to in this pack. So battling all over this racetrack, as Mike Kellenbeck continues to apply the pressure to that 97, especially turns 3 and 4, as he looks to the inside. Can't quite get it done before the dog leg. We'll see if he can get it done going into turn number 1. That 97 can really roll the middle very well through 1 and 2, excuse me. But 3 and 4, that 97 struggles. So we talk about the different corners, the different bankings, the different lines, and it's definitely taking a little bit of a toll of that speed for that 97 machine. Now we'll ride on board with Michael Rosenberger in that Pigloo number 55 machine. We'll see what he's seeing out here on track for the Soma Coffee onboard. As you hear there, folks, pretty wide open through 3 and 4, so Hartney must be lifting a little bit too much, maybe applying some brake, and that's what's really slowing down that 97 machine, especially in 1 or 3 and 4, As we hear Rosenberger trying to get down to the bottom in 1 and 2. He does get there mostly. You definitely want to be below that first seam if you can hang on down there without blowing off that right front. As we see the 70 all over the back of that tailgate of the 97 machine in front of him. As Mike Killenbeck in the grass, trying to pass in the grass. Couldn't quite carry enough momentum, so he will set up and see if we can tee up that 97 machine once again. So we got one lap truck up ahead of them as well. As you heard there, the 55 gets a little bit tight there. Has to lift just a smidge to make sure he doesn't hit that wall. We get around the lap car here, so now he's got to try and get back to the bottom of the racetrack. He does a pretty good job recovering from there. But that spread out the front two in front of him, so he needs, here while we're riding along with Mike Rosenberger, he needs those two trucks in front of him to start battling. That way he can start to reel him on in as they lose time to each other. As Mike Killenbeck in that 70 machine almost got in the wall, may have. He was definitely had to crank that car low. As we see cars making the hard left-hand turn, hard under braking. Look at all the time Rosenberger made up to the 70 machine and the trucks around him. An awesome pit entry from the 55 machine here as we rode on board with it, because he made up a ton of time. So we see everyone down pit road except for the 72 of Wes Frank Norman, who is the only truck that has not went down pit road. So the 72 is the race leader as he now comes down pit road. So we will look ahead to the 97 here and see where he comes on out. David Lomaga will win the race under green flag pit stops here. So everyone just able to make it a third of the way in this race, as Keith Fonseca trying to make up some time as we had this backpack kind of pit early. As we see the gap here, David Hartney with a great pit stop all over the back bumper of our leader of David Lomaga. So Hartney with a better stop, just like Rosenberger over Killenbeck, as they go side by side for P3 in the race right here. As Jason Wiley in the 13 actually had the best overall pit time. Actually, I take that back. The 93 machine, our points leader, with the best pit time green flag pit stop cycle, with just over 43 seconds spent on pit lane. So that 93 machine has the championship winning crew. We'll see what kind of run he can put together in the after this third mark here. Already clicked on over. As we go back up to the front, David Lomaga continues to lead this race. The biggest mover of the race so far, up 4 positions. So he is getting his Texas two-step on in and figuring out this track pretty well. As David Hartney has some data points from that last run. We'll see how this 97 can adapt and overcome. I'm sure he'll be continue to apply the pressure to the 34 now that he has a truck to chase to maintain that pace. As I believe there was no one that had to serve any penalties there. So everyone making clean green flag pit stops. We'll see if they can do it again here. I believe around lap 60. If they pitted on 30 exactly, I assume they can make it to 60, 61, and then have to pit once more if no yellow flags come on out. So actually that 70 machine able to defend the third spot from Michael Rosenberger. We saw them side by side just after pits, and I believe these two are catching the two leaders, so maybe the two leaders just kind of maintain the pace, make sure that they don't blow off their tires early in this run. These two trying to reel in the gap, get in that all-important draft here, especially at a mile and a half. But Mike Killingbeck, a man on a mission, now all over the back bumper of the 97 machine. So David Lomag is starting to turn up the wick a little bit out in front. We'll see if David Hartney will do the same or if he'll let the 70 machine by. And they try side by side into 3. Killingbeck tries the crossover. No room down there. That will slow them both up and let the 55 of Rosenberger gain a tremendous amount of car. Now it's a 3-horse race for second place. As we'll see where the 70 car can go. This is where Hartney and the 97 white Silent Theory machine struggles. Is 3 and 4. We'll see if the 70 goes high or goes low. As the 70 goes high, almost gets the wall, gets super sideways trying to get it on and down. 55 all over the back bumper of it. Wow, folks, I don't know how we didn't have an incident there. That was some awesome driving by all these guys involved. Killingbeck kind of lost where the wall was, had to crank it to the left, got sideways, almost lost it. Rosenberger to the back bumper of the 70, so now these guys have to regroup and try and reel back in that 97 machine. And this is only the battle for second. This is kind of let David Lomaga kind of run away from this pack, now trying to push a 2.5 seconds over second place. So that's what this 34 wants to see, these guys battling out here behind him. As for the most part, further on through this field, everyone has kind of single filed out for the most part. As we continue to look at this, we'll go through some of the running order out on track. David Lomaga, currently the race. Actually, we got side-by-side action here first. The 70 machine able to drive it in there deep. We'll see if Hartney has the run on the high side or if he'll finally let the 70 machine go, trying to save some tire, trying to keep the pace. But Killingbeck with the preferred line going into turn 3. Hartney will be most likely passed, but that 97 holding strong on the outside, still side by side for second place. It is so tough to make this high side work, especially with these trucks, with how wide open and how much speed you can carry with these bad boys, especially 3 and 4 with it being virtually wide open, just breathing the throttle just a little, as they are side by side still for second place. No driver giving an inch. We all know how important this can be, as Killingbeck able to clear Hartney. And now we'll see if Hartney will try a crossover. Just push the 70 into turn number 1. Hartney missing his entry with that truck right on his nose. That now opens the door for Rosenberger. But Hartney on the loud pedal early and gets a run. Now looking to the inside of the 70. Crossover move engaged. Now we're side by side, but the other way around. David Hartney dancing with the apron. Gets a little bit loose. That's going to kill his momentum. We'll see if Killingbeck able to clear. He does, and that opens the door for the 55. Because now the 70 of Killingbeck just needs to hit his marks, protect that inside line, and he should be good to set sail. But that 97 with a great run off of turn 2 every single time. Now back looking to the inside of the 70. They go side by side once again through 3. Killenbeck with the run once again and able to defend the position. So some great battles here for second, third, and fourth on track. But like I said before, it's still happening. This is allowing the 34 of Lomaga to keep on running away, now up to about half a straightaway lead in that 34 DTL Customs. But now it looks like finally Killenbeck able to drive away from the 97. Now he can hit his marks. We'll see if he can do any damage on the race lead gap, or if he'll have to wait till the next pit cycle, as we'll keep an eye on this. But finally run through that running order. David Lomaga continues to lead the way. Mike Killenbeck in second, but under fire once again. David Hartney currently running in P3. Michael Rosenberger in fourth. Ethan Michaels will round out our top five. Sixth is Jason Wiley. Seventh is Eli Raposa. Eighth is Wes Frank Norman. Ninth is Keith Fonseca. And rounding out our top 10 right now is Kevin Gironi, as we get our first yellow flag of the night. And oh my goodness, car on the track. And I believe our leader was involved in that. A great deal of drama as we will try and go to the 34 machine of Lomaga, as he sits here and has to tow with the front end missing. So big time drama unfolding in this race, as we will look at the 34 machine and try and see what happened as he comes off of turn number 2 under power. And oh my goodness, one truck sitting there from a wreck had no clue he was there and absolutely clobbered him, as the rest of the field has to skirt on by, somehow makes it on through. But a heartbreak for that 34 machine, as he was running so strong, so dominant, and now may have this win stripped away from him. I don't see how he can come back from this, especially going laps down now. So a heartbreak for the 34 of David Lomaga. But that will hand the race lead over to Mike Killenbeck in the 70 Marines machine. So anything can happen in Texas, and that has my mind blown, folks. As we do see some takers down pit road, I'm surprised we didn't see any of the leaders. There is only 2 sets of tires, so I would assume we'll have to see the likes of the 13 on back, maybe just taking fuel and maybe saving those tires for the last stop, because they will have to come in one more time if the fuel window is only 30 laps, because they'll be about 10 laps short if my math is correct. So we will see these guys come in one more time. So I would have to assume that they would maybe save a set, as it looks like just mostly fuel and go for the front runners. But some cars taking tires, one of the first to do it, the 72 machine of Wes Frank Norman with the gamble. I like to see it. So he will be coming in only for a splash and go under green. It might be the move. He can have a shorter pit stop, so we'll have to see how it plays out for the 72 versus the rest of the field, whereas the leader stayed out fully and will have to come in about 10 to 15 laps. So now the strategy games really get started, folks. So be sure to grab a snack, grab a drink, get on up for a minute, because once we go back racing, it's about to get wild. That's why we got our first yellow flag. We'll maybe talk about the race info. So we got the Truckers versus Trudeau Texas clash here for 90 laps around Texas Motor Speedway. Of course, this is a 1.5 mile D-shaped oval. Fairly, I want to say it was updated in 2018, right around there. It was reconfigured with this super wide turns 1 and 2. I mean, look at all that space you have up there, and no one uses it because the best way around this track is at the bottom, sadly. So they kind of screwed up the repave a little bit. I know a lot of people aren't too much fans of Texas, but it can still put on some good racing with the right cars and the right field. Like tonight, it has been some awesome racing, and I'm glad to be calling it up here in the booth. Of course, we're looking at a nice warm 81 degrees here at night. So a great night for racing. Be sure if you're interested in this league and want to find out more, check them out on Facebook at Joe Sixpack Racing. Also, Joe Sixpack Racing League is presented by the following. LugCoin, a pretty cool charter system with its own currency. So a cool stuff there done by the league admins and owners over there. Of course, we got to give a shout out to Soma Coffee. If you want to wake up bright and early in the morning, you got to do it with your Soma Coffee. Also, be sure to check out Plan B Sales and use code JSP at checkout for free shipping. Also, we got to give a shout out to all the sweet graphics done by DTL Custom Graphics. And then if you want to hear more, especially about the behind the scenes, all the good stuff, the faces behind the races, check out the Joe Sixpack Podcast and find out more about that. So the lights are extinguished on the pace car. We will be going green next time by, and the race lead will be handed over to the 70 after the 34 machine. Some contact with that yellow flag there and a heartbreak for that team. So the 70 can fire off whenever he wants. I assume he'll go early, so we have to keep that in mind as we go down the Texas backstretch here for one final time under this yellow flag number 1. As we see now the 01 of Ethan Michaels in that 4th position. Been moving up all this race, now up 5 positions. So keep an eye on that Hoonigan 01 machine because he may have a fight for these leaders. As the pace car makes the hard left-hand turn down pit road, we wait for the 70 to fire on off. He can fire whenever he is ready. As he waits for the green lights and we fire on off, we are back racing here at Texas as David Hartney gets a great start. Will be door to door with the leader here going into turn number 1. As Hartney will try and carry that momentum on the high side. Killingbeck will try and make that bottom stick. We'll have to see how this works, but David Hartney with the momentum on the high side may clear the leader here as we got Jason Wiley looking to the inside of the 55 as well as making it the pass done on Ethan Michaels. So give 4th place to the 13 and trying to make it 3rd place as well. As Killingbeck now to the high side of the leader. Side-by-side action continues for the race lead. As now Killingbeck will try and do what Hartney did last night. Carry the momentum on the high side and see if he can maybe cross on over or keep that thing pinned and try and go to the high side of the 97. As the 70 able to carry that speed side by side coming off of turn number 2. And what a battle here for the race lead. Killingbeck using up all that new track up top. Trying to find some speed. Not quite the best run off of that corner. That has him falling down a little bit further, but 3 wide further on back. David Lomaga trying to get through this field. Oh man, contact with the 72 of West Frank Norman. West Frank Norman somehow hangs on to that 72 truck. I don't know how, but Lomaga is trying to race his way the hard way as we got spinning in the front of the field. David Hartney around, and what happened there? We will have to go back and see how this unfolded. As we see for the race lead, Mike Killingbeck on the back bumper of David Hartney and tries to look low in the dog leg, just gets to the inside on that left rear quarter, and that sends the 97 around. So David Hartney with another heartbreaking race in the second half of this race. We'll have to see how this 97 can bounce on back. So we are under yellow once again here in this race, as we didn't have any yellow flags in the first half. Now we'll have 2 in the early second half, as Darrell Waltrip once famously said, Caution breeds cautions. That is what David Lomaga wanted to see, as he is our current lucky dog. So he is going to try and race his way on back through this field, because he was on a move. He actually made contact with the 72 there, 3 wide, trying to make it work. So he is trying to race hard, get his lap back the hard way in any way he can, because he knows if he can get that 34 machine back on the lead lap, he has a great fighting chance to try and get back in the top 5 and maybe even get back to the point. As we'll see if we get any takers here to come down and top off this time, because they could maybe stretch it on fuel if they leave their car in 4th gear, maybe clutch, maybe shun the car on and off. If they take some fuel this caution, it'll be close. They could top it off at least the next time by, as we see our 2nd place runner now, Mike Rosenberger, bring down a few trucks here to probably top off on fuel. With the tail end being the 97 of David Hartney, you got to think that he's going to slap 4 new tires on that, especially heating them up, flat spotting them with the spin. As we got some drama unfolding in the second half of this race, as well as some great racing. This has been some awesome door-to-door racing throughout this field. As with these pit stops, it cycles up everything, throws a wrench in all the plans. Just like Brad Yuckman, hasn't been too much of a factor this race, but now late in this race, all the way up, sitting in P6, so doing everything he can to try and keep this points lead over David Lomaga, especially with that incident, and Keith Fonseca. So if the 93 can stay in front of those 2 trucks, he can increase his points lead ever so slightly. As we see now, the 01 of Ethan Michaels will do the even smarter play, come back down pit road, re-top on off of fuel, as we are still pacing under yellow flag here for the Truckers versus Trudeau 90 Texas Clash. As they line up right now, Kevin Gironi will start on the outside of the front row in this 8 machine, and he will be up 11 spots. Didn't pit that last time, pitted the time before, so we'll have to see what this 8 car can do up front in some clean air. This restart's going to be interesting with everyone re-racked and restacked, so I think we'll have all the fans standing up at home. As once we go back, Racing Green will be 2/3 of the way through this race. As I say that, Kevin Gironi actually pulls it down pit road to top off the fuel on the 8. Going to see if he can stretch it. Same with the 61 of Keith Fonseca. I say if you're towards the back especially, why not try and enter some fuel saving mode. Try and stretch it to the end. Try and see if you can finish on fumes. It's only going to make this race way more interesting, and I can't wait to call this thing. As now, with those trucks pitting that time, Robert Tuizku is now our biggest mover of the race, up 11 spots. A little bit of damage to that right side. We'll have to see how that affects the aero, especially here at 1.5 miles. But we've seen people overcome worse damage in this truck series, so we'll have to keep an eye on that Hooters number 28 machine. As the lights are extinguished on the pace car, we are going green this time by, and the race lead will be once again handed over to the 70, and he can fire whenever he wants. He waited late, and that let the 97 get around him. We have to think that Mike Killenbeck will have to go early this time to prevent that from happening with the 46 of Easy E, as the pace car makes the hard left-hand turn, and we are waiting for the 70 to fire on off. As once again, a late restart from the 70 waits to the green light, so Eli not quite the start of David Hartney, but able to slot on in second. Brad Yuckman now looking for third place, as well as Jeff Crosby Sr. trying to get around that 28 car, as well as Michael Rosenberger in that 55 who just pitted that time, as we see him fan out down the backstretch here. Trucks all over the road. As David Lomaga continues to try and fight through this field, he has to start in the back of every restart since he's a lap down, as we get almost 4 wide coming off of turn 2 as they soar on out, as the 6 car hard into the outside wall. Keeps that thing underneath him somehow, but he took a shot in the dog leg there. As Mike Kellenbach continues to lead the way, Eli Raposa rounding up second, but Wes Frank Norman all the way to the bottom here going into turn 3. As David Hartney tries to get through this field once again in that Silent Theory number 97 machine. All the way up into P number 7 as he gets around Robert Tuiscu there. So he is a man on a mission, knowing where he should be on track and doing everything he can to get on through it. As we have Mike Kellenbach leading the way, but Eli Raposa in second right now. And look at this, the 34 machine of David Lomaga. He's another man on a mission here. Gonna try and unlap himself the hard way past these leaders under green. And it looks like he is gonna be able to do it as he is quickly closing the gap here. Michael Rosenberger in that 55 machine also on new tires trying to follow the 34. But they are not racing for position. If the 55 can get around the 70 Marines machine, he will be the new race leader. As Lomaga looks high here, trying to carry the momentum on the 70 machine. As they will split the 70 for the race lead, Lomaga high, Rosenberger low, and now move the 55 in the race lead. But Jason Wiley not going to make it easy on the 55 as he is still right on the bumper of him. As that will actually move David Lomaga on to the lead lap. So now the 34 just needs a yellow, and he'll be on the lead lap as these trucks, and we'll have one more chance to race on through this field and see where he can end up. But he needs that yellow flag as these trucks continue to get spaced on out. Mike Killenbach way down on speed. You gotta wonder, is he running out of fuel here? Definitely coming down pits this time. So the 70, the first to pit in this green flag cycle. As the 55 slow as well, that will hand the race lead over to Jason Wiley. Is Rosenberger having some sort of issue? He is way off the pace all of a sudden. What is going on with this 55 truck? He pitted on lap 56, so he's not out of fuel. I'm not sure if he's having some sort of mechanical issues in that truck, but he is way down on pace. So Jason Wiley, the number 13 green machine, is our race leader. With Eli Raposa in second, trying to keep the pressure on him, but currently a half a second back. As he tries to get some of that draft from the 13 down the backstretch, able to do it and able to close the gap ever so slightly. Jason Wiley pitted a little bit later than Eli, so we'll have to see if Eli will try and save his tires a little bit better than the 13. And then the bigger questions become, when does Eli pit? Will Jason have enough fuel to make it to the end? All gonna find out here in 22 and a half laps. As Brad Yuckman able to get around the 72 of Wes Frank Norman. Wes Frank, I believe, one of the latest to pit here. Just trying to save that fuel, make it to the end, make sure that he doesn't have to pit one more time. Same with the 61 of Keith Fonseca. So these guys all in fuel saving mode, making sure they can make it to the end, whereas these leaders are going all out, trying to see where they can end up. And what a rebound from the 97 machine of David Hartney, all the way back up into P number 3 and gaining on these leaders ever so slightly. As if we get a yellow anytime now, all trucks will come down to top off on fuel. They can make it to the end at any sort of time. As Eli Rapanza looks to the inside of the 13, this is the battle for the race lead. Eli will have the preferred line in that dirtbag clothing number 46 machine. He clears the 13, and new race leader Eli Rapanza. Rapanza the Manza. I do mean Eli Raposa in the 46 machine. Gotta always have a good little chuckle of that. As Easy E to the race lead as he tries to block the 13 down the backstretch, try and break that draft just ever so slightly. If he can get out more than a half a second over the 13, the draft starts to fade away. So that 46 trying to drive away from the 13 as fast as he can, trying to stop the tow for him to keep on up with him. As Jason Wiley with a mistake there, very high on entry, so Eli Raposa now just has to hit his marks, now above half a second over second, so he can hit his marks through 3 and 4 here. He can start to drive away from the field. The question is, does he have enough fuel? As with us wrapping down in this race, we will do one final crank it. We'll do crank it on up for the viewers at home. So get ready, turn up your volumes. It's Crank It Up. As we come back to the live racing action here, we had the 46 machine of Eli Raposa pit under green flag here, so that hands the race lead back to the 13 of Jason Wiley. The 46 did not have enough fuel to make it. Now the 01 not racing for position. Raced his lap back the hard way on the leaders there. So Ethan Michaels now the last truck on the lead lap. As Jason Wiley has checked out to about a 2-second lead over David Hartney. So Hartney will have to hit his marks. As he throws a big block there on Brad Yuckman, our points leader here. He is running in P3, so an awesome rebound from the 93, as actually Keith Fonseca will try and take that spot away from the 93. So battle for our third place podium position here, as Keith Fonseca able to do it. I believe that 97 machine, with what kind of pace he's running, he's got to be in total fuel conservation mode, as these guys are eating him on up. Now Jason Wiley with such a race lead right now, he just has to hit his marks, lift super early every corner, hit the bottom every single time, run a low as a track, as small as a track as possible, try and keep out of the throttle as much as he can, because he does not need any extra, let's say, gas drinkage, as we actually get a yellow flag on track. Let's see if we can find out where the caution was. We will try and go to maybe what happened, as we see maybe the 28 machine of Robert Tuiscu maybe slow on the track. Maybe that's what brought it out. He was on the apron, but this now throws a big wrench in everyone's plans. Now everyone can make it on if they do come down to top on off with fuel. And with inside of 10 laps to go, the gloves are coming off for all these drivers. It's going to be all take and no give. As we see Brad Yuckman, the first truck down pit road, and I'm amazed, folks. Not too many other trucks coming on down. I guess everyone's confident that we'll make it. So the 93 erring on the side of caution. This is what the 34 wanted to see. He gets his lap back. Same with the likes of some of the other drivers, like Mike Killenbeck, the lucky dog here. So the 70 machine now back on the lead lap as well. So some big developments. But with how much fuel saving the 97 was doing, I'm surprised we didn't see him come down pit road and top on off. So he's got to turn up the wick now. Everyone on track. Full wick, full ignition, because it's go time once we go back racing. As man, oh man, what some developments shaping up to be. Jason Wiley, our race leader, can he defend? Can he get it done? David Hartney got turned in the second half of this race, able to come back, now running in P2. Can he get the job done? Keith Fonseca up 9 positions in third place in the 61 machine. What does he have to offer these front runners? So a bunch of storylines, and that's just in the top 3. As we look at the primer gray 61 machine with those gloss numbers, a pretty sweet look. A little bit of right rear damage. We'll have to keep that on mind for that speed of the 61, because especially a mile and a half in these trucks that are so draggy any sort of damage can hurt the overall driving. Sounds like one driver may have a little bit of connection issues. We'll have to see if he can get that sorted out before we go green. But this time by, we should see the lights get extinguished on the pace car. We'll double them up, re-rack them, restack them, and go back racing here at Texas as we get our third yellow flag of the night, all coming in the second half of this race. As David Hartney was able to take the race lead from the high side the last time he started P2. We'll have to see if he can do it again or if Jason Wiley goes a little bit earlier than we saw the 70. All gonna be told here in a half a lap. Don't tune away now, folks, because this is where the action gets wild. As we will now wait for the pace car to make the left-hand turn down pit road. That will hand the race lead over to the 13 of Jason Wiley. And he can go whenever he pleases. We'll have to see when he decides to go as we look from the fans' point of view. We'll wait for the 13 here. And he fires on off. We are back racing here at Texas. David Hardy not as good of a restart as that first time, but able to slot on in that second position. We'll have to see what kind of run he can get off of turn 2 as he does so often. As he does get a great run here and looking to the inside of Jason Wiley going into turn number 3 and able to make it work. Hits the apron though, gets a little bit loose. Jason Wiley has to react as well, so both trucks almost making contact there. And that opens the door for the 55 once again with 2 trucks battling in front of him, just trying to take advantage of it. But now David Hartney with the preferred line on the bottom. Overdrives the corner a little, pushes on up. That sends the 13 on up too. That opens the door for the 55 and 3 wide racing for the lead. Michael Rosenberger now 2P2 and now trying to apply the pressure to the 13 machine. As what some awesome racing up here, up in front. As we will now try and catch everything on track because it is getting wild out here. As we have the flagman palm open, 5 laps to go in this race. Brad Yuckman making his way through this field, our points leader, making sure that he can contain the points lead, keep it growing as he is in P4 as Michael Rosenberger looks to the high side of the 13 for the race lead. He has a nose on him, but not able to make it stick as David Hartney with a huge send into 3. It's 3 wide action once again for the race lead. Hartney down low, Wiley in the middle, Rosenberger up top, now 4 wide with Brad Yuckman down the bottom. Oh my goodness. Yuckman able to make it stick somehow. And now side by side for the race lead with Rosenberger dancing with that inside line. Not able to carry as much momentum as the 55 as we get 3 laps to go here, folks. It ain't over yet. Any of these drivers inside this top 5 could win this race. Anyone from that flat black machine of Keith Fonseca. As Yuckman with a great run off of the turn 2 into the inside of Rosenberger. So give the race lead as of right now as they go into turn 3 to Brad Yuckman. Oh my goodness, as Keith Fonseca gets him the contact with David Hartney. That sends Hartney up the track. and to lose another spot with it. So that 97 machine's not going to be happy after this race. As Yuckman now goes to the high side. Interesting call there. I think he has to want to be at the bottom. As we get popsicle sticks up in the air, 2 laps to go, but Brad Yuckman able to drive away from this field. Pitted on lap 80. I think he saved his last set of tires for when he pitted on lap 80 and making those tires work as he receives the white flag here at Texas. Our points leader takes the white flag and now has to hit 4 more corners perfectly, as Rosenberger can only hope for a mistake from the 93. The 46 is actually lapped down, so he's not racing for position. Third place is Jason Wiley here as the 35 kind of blocking the lap car. Interesting move there, but we'll look to the front here as the 93 machine, our points leader, Brad Yuckman, gets it done and wins here at Texas. Michael Rosenberger brings it home in second. Jason Wiley in third, and what a finish. What all sorts of battles there, folks. I'm going to have to rewatch that to even know what happened. We had 3-4 wide action every single lap. Holy smokes. Hopefully you're in tank, because, man, I am left speechless here. And now we get to do the interviews with these drivers, as we'll see Brad Yuckman hopefully burn it down for the fans at home. Changes up the paint scheme and brings it home in victory lane here at Texas. Holy smokes. As we see the 93 burning it on down here for that awesome race win. I definitely have to ask him, what is that paint scheme? As it looks like some sort of definitely aquatic scheme, but we'll have to maybe get the details from that 93 machine. As we watch him burn it on down for the fans at home. What a race. As we will go to commercial and come back with these drivers.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Alrighty, folks, we are back here for some post-race interviews, and we will try and talk to our third place driver of Jason Wiley. Jason, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth.
Sir, how's it going?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. Man, that was a crazy race, especially that final restart. What was it like out there for that 13 machine as we you took the lead coming to green there and led the field to green, I should say?
Yeah, I was that last restart was crazy because my spotter he was, my buddy Dakota spots for me. Shout out to him. He was like, they're 2 wide, they're 3 wide. He goes, yeah, they're 4 wide, and it was a wild finish. I wish I had an extra set of tires like the winner did there, but it was a good run.
Yeah, man, I was left speechless with all those calls I had to make in that 8 laps there. Because, man, yeah, like you said, 3-4 wide, all sorts of racing action throughout that field. It was a blast to call, and I'm sure very stressful being out there on track, but able to get that podium after such a strong finish. You fan of Texas? It seemed like you were able to run pretty well here for that 13 green machine.
This is one of my favorite tracks. I normally run pretty well here, so I was excited for this race coming up here.
Awesome, Jason. Yeah, it seemed like that truck had a bunch of speed in it. That is for sure. So looking forward to next week. How are we feeling about Daytona? A little bit of luck there involved for a win, but anything can happen.
Hoping that we get I'm getting my guy that spot for me tonight in here, so hopefully I'll have somebody to draft with for
There you
Daytona
go.
next week, and we can see what we can do.
There we go. All important to have a drafting buddy, especially someone to push you to the end. But yeah, Jason, an awesome run from that 13 machine. Before we let you go, I'm sure there's got to be some people you got to give a shout out to, thank you to. I know you mentioned your spotter once. I'm sure he gets another big shout out with, especially how crazy that race was there at the end.
Shout out to Dakota Wilson for keeping my fingers clean the whole race. I appreciate it.
Alrighty, awesome, Jason. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm sure we'll talk some more in the future because that 13 machine has had some speed in it the last few weeks, finally getting up on the podium. And you have a good rest of your night and go enjoy it.
Appreciate it. Shout out to y'all for doing the broadcast. We appreciate it.
Alrighty, awesome job there. That was our third place runner, Jason Wiley. Now we will talk to our second place runner of Mike Rosenberger. We will have to see if we can get him down here in that Pigloo number 55 machine. Mike, you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Mike. How was that
what's going on,
55
Brett?
car? Oh, man, I am left out of breath after calling that last restart. What was it like from that point of view from that 55 truck?
Oh man, the caution was a blessing. I was running out of fuel there at the end, and I was really babying it. And the caution came out, and by the time we had 6 laps to go and going green, I had 15 laps left. So I just was like, okay, let's hammer it down and see what I could do. But Brad had the tires and he had the speed, and it was definitely a nail biter there at the end. It was a wild one.
Yeah, that's for sure. So without that yellow, do you think you would have made it on fuel for that 55 machine?
Oh yeah, I would have made it, but I don't think I would have made it in second. I was definitely lifting off the throttle to get it to cross the finish line. So I imagine these faster guys that had a little bit of different pit strategy than us probably would have taken advantage of me.
Gotcha. Well, it seemed like always tonight, Mike, you were towards the front, but it seemed like there was always 2 cars side by side in front of you. What was that kind of like with trying to navigate who maybe had the run, who had the advantage, and it seemed like you always had to pick and choose your line depending on the 2 cars battling in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, Killing Back was doing really well. He was going really fast. My teammate David Hartney, he was battling there for a while, and I kept watching it, and it just kind of looked like, if I can. Honestly, I was trying to catch him, but I couldn't catch him, so I was just kind of hanging back and waiting to see what happened, and obviously things happened, and it is what it is. But just kind of tried to stay in my lane and keep pushing.
Yeah, it was definitely a eventful race, especially at that second half. Had some great green flag stops. It seemed like you were one of the best coming down on pit road. We were actually right on board with you with the broadcast, and you're one of the best coming onto pit road, especially in that first green flag stop. So I don't know if you practice your green flag stops, but it definitely seemed like it on the broadcast here tonight.
Well, thank you. I actually saw an opportunity to pass Mike there and coming into pit, and I just kind of backed out of it the last second. But honestly, it's my first time racing Texas, so got very few hours of seat time in this week. And again, I want to thank David Hartney and the Dirtbag Clothing boys. They hooked me up with a good practice session.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, pretty good outing for your first time here at Texas with the 2 different ends. It's a pretty tricky track, so to come home second, pretty good pat on the back for you there, Mike.
Thanks, Brett.
Alrighty, before we let you go and celebrate this second place, I know one short of the big time, but Brad with that strategy got it done. I'm sure there's got to be a whole bunch of people you got to thank for that 55 team here tonight.
Oh yeah, like I said, first and foremost, that Dirtbag Clothing crew, they're a good crew to run with. They really help each other and help me out a lot, and they were really pivotal in tonight's race. Also, my family and friends that kind of just support the whole hobby and enjoy watching me on YouTube every night. Shout out all you guys, and of course Brett, Greg, Jonathan Humphrey, all you guys. I think admins appreciate all your help.
Alrighty. It's my pleasure to broadcast. So you guys are the racers that put on the show for me to broadcast. So appreciate all you guys. And yeah, Mike, go enjoy it. I'm sure we'll be talking to that 55 machine here in the future.
All right, Brett. Thanks. Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
Yep, you as well. That was our second place finisher, Michael Rosenberger. Now we will talk to the man himself. We will go to the race winner of Brad Yuckman in that 93 machine. Gets it done, extends his points lead. We'll have to see what he has to say. Brad, you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Hey, Brett, how you doing tonight?
Oh, doing pretty good. I don't think as good as you, because what a drive, especially on that last restart. Tell me what's going through your mind. 4 wide down the backstretch. Holy smokes.
Well, I was at the beginning of the race, I started saving fuel to see if that would work, and that wasn't going to be the play of tonight with all the cautions we had. So I saved a set of tires, and with that 10 laps to go, I put the last set on, and they had nothing for me.
Yeah, that 93 machine was on rails, especially with that different tire strategy. I bet you're glad you saved it, had that caution fall, and the rest is history.
That is right. That was so awesome to come up and go 4 wide in the turn out of turn 2, and
yeah, I tell you what, I was telling everyone else, I was left out of breath trying to call all the racing action out on track. It was awesome to watch, and I told myself I can't wait to even rewatch this race.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait to go back and watch those last few laps to see how, because I heard everybody was talking about multiple cars, 2, 3 wide, and then going 4 wide and, passing them all for the win.
Yeah, it was awesome to watch firsthand. But, Brad, so looking at this bigger picture a little bit, you get the race win and you extend your points lead. Pretty impressive.
Yes. Getting above Dave and Keith, a few more points ahead of them. We'll see how this season keeps playing out.
Yeah, you can't do it any better than getting the win done and to increase the points, as we're now over halfway done with the season. Looking next week at Daytona, maybe a little bit more luck involved there. Hopefully you might have a drafting partner for this 93 machine.
I'm going to have to go find one. I'm a lone team. I'm by myself, so I need to find a teammate.
Oh, man. Well, I'm sure there'll be someone wanted to draft with you, because you got some speed out of that 93 machine, and maybe they could learn a thing or two. But I got to ask, I'm looking at it right now on the broadcast. What's this paint scheme on this truck tonight?
I changed it up. I had the Bengals last week, and unfortunately they lost the Super Bowl, but they had a great season. And now I've changed it back to my scuba diving schemes. I'm a big scuba diver, and there's a fish on the back and on the tailgate or the back of it. But yeah, scuba diving's my passion and hobby that I love to do.
Okay, so yeah, that's pretty cool stuff from you, Brad. That's good to know. I definitely have to write that down in the notebook, because I always love some fun facts about stuff like that about the drivers. What would they be doing if they weren't out here iRacing, or if the weather was nice enough? Because for me up here, it's we got a few inches of snow. Not quite the best scuba time here.
No, it's a little cold for that. Even down here in South Mississippi right now, it's a little chilly still.
Oh, I bet.
I'm waiting for springtime.
Yep, for sure. That's when all the fun happens. But, Brad, before we let you go, I'm sure there's got to be a whole bunch of people you got to thank for this 93 team. Can finally actually interview you with the win, because the last time you won at Kansas, I was sick and not able to broadcast. So glad I could redeem one here for you, get you in victory lane, because I'm sure it's been a great time so far. But, yeah, before we let you go, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people you got to thank.
Oh, yeah. I want to thank you I can't wait to go back and watch your broadcast of the race and everything like that. And Greg for putting this whole league on. I know it's a lot of work to do that. My team, lack of team there. Hollis and Shearwater is my sponsors on the truck. And Patty Scuba. If anyone wants to go diving, let me know. I'll be more than happy to take you scuba diving. I'm an instructor. So I appreciate everything, and look forward to Daytona next week.
All right, awesome, Brad. Well, if you're a scuba instructor, is there any way maybe they could look into an appointment with you?
Yeah, just get in touch with me. I do it as a hobby, so it's more of hey, when do we have a weekend free to go and stuff like that.
All right, cool. Well, if I'm ever in your area, Brad, I'll be sure to hit you on up. I would love to go scuba diving. Have not been, so it's definitely one thing on the bucket list here.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. Just give me a call.
All righty, awesome, Brad. Well, we'll let you go celebrate it down in Victory Lane with this 93 crew. I'll wrap up here in the booth and then join you after and celebrate a post race with you.
Thanks, Brett.
All righty, you have a good one, Brad.
You too. Take care.
Thank you, thank you. That was our race winner, Brad Yuckman. Finally able to interview him. As like I said, folks, last time he won, I was not there and able to call it and get him the interview. So he's got the interview that he deserves finally. So what a finish, folks. Holy smokes. I don't even know how to describe that because that was action-packed, especially at the end. Wow, what a bunch of awesome racing. We will go through the race results from the Truckers versus Trudeua Texas Clash. Brad Yuckman gets it done for Deep Dive Racing in the 93 Chevy Silverado and extends his points lead over the rest of the drivers, bringing it home. P2, Michael Rosenberger in the 55 Pigloo Racing Machine. Jason Wiley in the 13 rounds out our podium. Bringing it home fourth is Keith Fonseca in the 61. Marty Brown with a awesome bounce back there in the top 5 in that 41 machine. David Hartney with some more bad luck. Maybe he can shake it finally here sometime soon. Brings it home P6 in the 97 machine. Ethan Michaels in the 01 brings it home 7th. David Lomaga, after that big time heartbreak from the lead, able to bounce all the way back to P8 and get his lap back, finish on the lead lap. So pretty impressive there as David Lomaga tries to keep this points battle alive with Brad Yuckman. Bringing it home P9 is Mike Killingback in the 70. And rounding out our top 10 tonight is Wes Frank Norman in the 72. Eli Raposa will bring home P11 in the 46 machine. Jeff Crosby Sr. in the 33 will be 12th. 13th is Kevin Gironi in the 8th. 14th is Robert Tuizku in the 28th. 15th is Johnny Barker in the 6th. And rounding out our field tonight is Greg Dreiss in the 64. So what a race, what a finish, folks. Holy smokes. I can't wait. I've said it before. I'll keep on saying it, folks. I cannot wait to go back and rewatch this race because it has been a great one. Of course, we got to thank all the Joe Sixpack Racing League sponsors, the likes of being LugCoin, Soma Coffee, Plan B Sales. Be sure to use code JSP at checkout for free sales, DTL Custom Graphics, and of course the Joe Sixpack Podcast. Got to thank all the racers out here for putting on this action-packed race. Got to thank Greg Dreiss for being a awesome league admin out there and doing everything behind the scenes that he does. As, man, I'm pumped up for Daytona. Daytona's going to be another action-packed wild one. I believe it is 80 laps around there, so that's going to be another fun one. Be sure to tune in to that next week. Same time and place, 7:30 on Turn 3 Racing Network. I have been Brett the Jet, folks. It's been another great one. Thank you for tuning on in. Thank you for the repeat tune-ins. Got to give a shout out to Jeff Crosby Jr. in the YouTube chat lands. It's been a blast, and I got a blast on off here. So everyone have a great night. Take care. Be safe. And just flew by you. Have a good one, everyone.